going on, all you jive turkeys? Welcome back to Meet the Critters, episode 61. We're still doing it. We've been consistent for like 3 weeks now?
No, more than that. We're like 6 weeks. Ooh. We're at like week 4 doing Sundays.
No shit. God dang.
Yeah.
Really? That's terrifying. Man.
We're hitting it hard.
I've been hitting my medicine hard that I completely forgot that. Well, folks, we got a fun one. We got the wannabe farmer, Joe Weilbel. What's going on? I completely second-guessed myself. You just told me 2 minutes ago how to pronounce your last name.
Same way with names. Same way.
What is going on, brother?
Not much. Just enjoying the night. It's been a day over here. We just picked up some bottle calves, and when I got home, the cows were out. Had to chase them down, so it's been a doozy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. We literally just got back from a dinner. I had a slaughter to do this morning. Pigs had cut this afternoon. Ran to dinner. Got home. The goats and the pigs were all loose. So, wife and kids are over there putting them back in right now.
There you go.
I gotta go talk to people on the internet. Go put those pigs back.
Yeah.
I've had to redo basically all of the electric fence in the pig paddocks like every day for the past 4 days because the piglets are just wrecking house. It's like I do like the alternating ground hotline. I think it works really well, but the middle paddock I have the piglets in is all poly poles, like just the push poles with like the insulators that clip on.
Uh-huh.
I hate them. They push them right out. It's like and it's like I'll go in and like that one's only 2 lines. So all of a sudden I'll go in, all the metal lines twisted together, grounding out everything. I'm like, I went to feed Red, the 550-pound boar, and he's just like pushing against the fence and then just steps over. And I'm like, I have a ground somewhere.
How many pigs do you guys have?
Oh, God. I have 12, 13, 15 at the moment. But I'm hoping to dwindle that number by 7 as soon as possible.
And I am down to, I just have my 3 breeding stock and I have 1 piglet left over for the season. I'm debating on, I might keep her back as a breeder. I might process her. I'm not sure yet. It was just one that never got picked up, and she's a decent gilt, so just keep feeding her.
Pigs are, I've never raised pigs. My uncle had a bunch, but I've never raised them.
Honestly, pigs are one of my favorite things to raise, but also one of those least favorite things. It just depends on the day because they will destroy everything. I mean, honestly, I really enjoy having the pigs. You put them to work. I've got a lot of thickets and stuff, and they've been doing a great job clearing those out so I can start turning some stuff into silvopasture. But then, like Kyle's saying, I only run 2 strands of electric for my pigs. I don't have hardwire on the other side like Kyle has. So when they're loose, they're loose. Like there's nothing holding them back.
Right. I mean, I heard pigs in general were hard to keep in, so that's kind of why I've stayed away.
If you keep your fence hot, they're not bad. Like I've had pigs where I've had my fence down for several weeks not knowing, and they're just so trained to that hot fence that they wouldn't even mess with it. But then I've had other pigs that tested it every friggin' day. So it just depends on.
Do you have solar chargers or plug-in?
No plug-in. I would never use a solar charger with pigs.
Mm-mm.
They just don't put out enough joules.
What?
Yeah, they don't put out enough joules. I've made that mistake before.
Yeah.
So they might say that they're rated for like 100 miles. It's the joules the stored joules is what you want to look at when you're trying to keep pigs in. Pigs are probably one of the tougher animals for electric because they're a lot tougher. You think being smaller that like beef cows versus pigs, you can keep a cow, in my experience, in on a lot less charger than you can with a pig.
Sure. They just don't want to deal with the inconvenience. They're just like, nah, I'm good. I don't really care. There's food here.
Unless they're really looking for feed.
Yeah.
Pigs are like, well, this feed looks pretty good, but look at that feed about 100 yards that way. That looks
the
good.
Same day that you moved them.
It also depends on where you are. Like I know, like again, Joe, you keep your pigs in almost as well as I do, and I have woven wire on the outside. Like, and it depends on where you are. My soil is so sandy that it's like I have 4 ground rods per fencer, and I still run a ground line.
Jeez.
In the middle of the fencing to make sure my fence is hot.
Yeah. Yeah, my pigs are fairly decent. Actually, everything got out through the barn. I'm pretty sure they knocked the gate off the hinges, and the pigs came through, and then the goats came through following them after, because the goats don't like the pigs. I think they all got commingled in the same pen, and they just walked out through the barn because the door wasn't shut.
Goats, they don't like anyone. Goats are particular.
That's
creatures.
fine. I don't like them.
Yeah, that's where I'm getting at with them.
Hey,
I'm about ready to.
I have one quick question that both of you guys, I'd like your answer on, because I wonder if it's different. What breed of pig is your go-to as just a backyard?
Actually, we're probably going to be the same on this one.
Yeah,
Really?
so me and Kyle agree. Yeah, we have. Well, I don't have those genetics anymore. I got out of it as not that I really hated them. It was more I didn't have the space for all the pigs that I had. Because last fall, what I have 25 pigs, Kyle, something like that,
last fall.
between my feeders and my breeding stock and the piglets that I had. But right now I run they're blue butt sows, and I'm crossing them on a Duroc Berkshire boar. Fantastic growth rates, docile. I mean, my pigs are like big puppy dogs. I really want to get into some Hereford and a little bit more Berkshire genetics and kind of get away from the blue butt, I think. Nothing wrong with the blue butt, but I want more of the heritage pork versus a commercial style. But I just butchered some piglets that came out of my stock. They were 6 months old, and they hung at 190 and 205. Versus I had Mangalitsa genetics mixed in there too, cross on my boar. And those ones were 10 months old, and they hung at 170, 180. This last batch, which was way better than my previous batches. It's just a play game. But if I was going to pick one genetic breed, I don't think I could, because I like playing around with genetics as much as Kyle does. I would really have to say I'm looking forward to adding Hereford and Berkshire. Those are probably would be my two go-tos, across of the two maybe. I've heard really good things about the across, but I've heard bad things about both if they're purebred genetics, if you get the wrong lines. But that's any breed of animal, anything,
yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm in the same boat. My base, like my sows are both Hereford sows. They were the first breed I ever got into, and I love them. But at the same time, I also had some Yorkshires and a couple of mutts, like in that same main group. But Herefords were the first one that I got into. Fell in love with them. I still have one of our original sows. And I love the temperament. I love the meat quality, the muscle, the growth. They are an all-around fantastic pig. They do really well in, like, my climate. I'm in northern New Hampshire. Like, my girls power through no problem. But kind of like Joe said, like, I like mixing around with the genetics. So it's like our last batch of pigs was a failure. Like, the meat was amazing. I mean, they were really good. It was amazing pork. Financially and like from a farming standpoint, they were a failure. It took 16 months to get one to 200 pounds hang weight. So it's like, and those were Hereford, and our boar at the time was 50-50 Osba, Island Hog, Mangalitsa. Two very slow growing breeds that don't grow huge. So it took a while to get them there. Our new boar is Osba Mangalitsa, because that was important to me to keep those genetics in there. But then it's also Duroc and Yorkshire. So he's a mutt. He's a pure mutt.
What's the first one? You said Mangalitsa and cross with what?
An Osaba Island Hog. So they're a cool rabbit hole to go down if you want. I need to do a video on them. I want to again.
Yeah.
I did one a while back. But they came off. The Spanish dropped them off on Ossabaw Island off the coast of Georgia when they came and settled the Americas, or like started to, and they just lived there alone for like a couple hundred years and evolved and bred and did everything. So it's a smaller breed, but it's very the feed conversion is insane. Their immunity is top notch. Like that's one of the major things about them. Like they're immune to a lot. But and the fat quality is fantastic. The marbling is amazing, but they're a smaller breed of pig. Like,
and they grow slower.
Like it takes 16 months to get to bone maturity. Whereas you can take a Yorkshire and you can put it in a box for 6 months. You can get that thing at 300 pounds.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So again, I like playing with the genetics. Because at the end of the day, I'm a butcher first. Like I started butchering far before I was a farmer. Mm-hmm. And I wanted the best meat quality possible. So this next batch of pigs that we have they're looking fantastic. They are double the size of the piglets last year. And they're doing well. I only want to keep 5. I still have 12 currently because it's that shit time of year where no one wants to buy piglets. So unfortunately, I'll probably be dropping the price just to get rid of them because it's going to cost me more to keep them than it is to make $50 less.
That's the one thing that me and Kyle differ on. He was a butcher first and then became a farmer. I was a farmer first and then became a butcher.
Just pigs? Or?
No, I do everything. I have pastured pork. I've got a mixed herd of beef and dairy cows. I think you've commented about my lease bull a couple times, that Murray Gray bull. I've got dairy goats. I started crossing on meat goats and meat rabbits. We do meat chickens, laying hens, and sheep. We just started in sheep this year too. Yeah. So we kind of got variety. That was my kid's deal. My son started doing mutton busting in the rodeos, and someone gave him a couple sheep to practice on, and it's kind of, they wanted to play around with it. So whatever they get out of the sheep's going to be theirs. They take care of them. They do the chores. They'll be able to breed them, get their lambs and stuff. Anything that we butcher, all that money goes right to the kids.
That'll be fun for them.
Yeah. And then I just have pigs. I unfortunately have laying hens at the moment. They will more than likely not be here by the time winter gets here, but I've brought everything down to where it's like, I would like to have 8 pigs going into this winter, and that is it.
I'm sure that's still expensive to feed.
Oh yeah. Well, and it's,
do you guys have different feed programs?
No, pretty similar. Actually, it's just the cost, we're not that far away from each other, but I'm in Western New York. Kyle's in Northern New Hampshire. So the cost difference is,
there's no infrastructure up here. So it's like the cost of everything's just a little bit more.
Right.
And then.
Well, I don't think we've actually talked about what we pay for feed.
I don't even remember what I pay for feed at this point because I just walk in and wince. I just go, I need this.
Just take my money.
Shink. Yeah. But yeah. So, and I mean, I think I do a lot more of like, I pick up from the grocery stores and like a couple businesses in town, like all the fresh, like veggie scraps and stuff like that, old bread and everything. I think I do a lot more of that than Joe. But
solely time restraints. I'd love to do that. I've actually got a guy that runs a vegetable stand. He's been bringing his stuff over and throwing it for the pigs, but it's not super consistent. So I don't really, they still eat the same amount of feed. They haven't slowed down on that any. So
yeah. And then you got Canadian Farmstead down here giving us shit for buying feed. I'm so sorry.
Hey, we don't have pugs. Yeah, no, those are the pug of the pigs is what I keep calling them.
They are the pugs of the pigs.
He's in here talking about how he's walking them around his yard, grazing the yard down.
I didn't even validate it by pulling it on the screen.
I think Canadian Farmstead just followed me. I haven't gotten to see any of their stuff yet.
Yeah, Canadian Farmstead's great. He's a fantastic follower.
Yeah, except you're almost guaranteed he will give you shit. If he finds something that he'll give you shit. Good. He keeps us on our toes.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. If there's an opinion that needs to be said that you don't want to be said, Canadian Farmstead will say
it. That's good.
Yeah, he follows us both on YouTube, TikTok.
And that's why we love him. That's it. Like, he's in here every week.
Yeah.
Joe makes me feel tired by he's funny on here.
All right, so all of these people already know what we got going on. What do you got going on, Joey?
Well, here I do hair sheep, a few cows, laying chickens, bottle calves. I think that's it. And then I train dogs for a living. So this is something I want to do, but it's damn hard to get into it right now. So we have, I think total we have about 3 grazing acres on our place. Recently I just got my neighbors, and that's another 4 or so. So I try to do grass fed, but depending on the weather, depending on just everything, I give them some cubes, but it's mostly just hay, and they're a small cow. So that makes life very easy for me.
Yeah. What breeds are you running?
So they're a Charolais low-line cross.
Yeah.
To be honest, I don't really know. That's what a couple of them are. I know I have a low line, and then I'm pretty sure she's a Murray Gray. But I'm really not sure. But that's kind of, I couldn't afford a registered animal to save my life right now. So that's what
all my cows are budget cows.
You're just getting started. Don't get a registered animal, because if anything happens to that animal, it's going to hurt so much worse. Just get yourself some Craigslist cows and get it going. But I'll tell you from personal experience, not from raising them, but from processing them. One of my main customers, they raise low-line Charolais crosses.
Really?
And it's a fantastic animal. I'm planning on getting into low lines when I get back into beef.
Okay. Yeah. I plan on taking it one step further and crossing a Mashona bull into it, just to get a little bit more fly. Past just in general, just heat tolerance and just some more hardiness to them, because those low lines are good, but they have a really bad problem with pink eye, and like they love, and I guess it also could just be management, because I've never had it and I've never dealt with it, but everyone who's big into cows says the low lines, just because they're short, they get pink eye like crazy. But thankfully I haven't had to deal with that.
Yeah. Joey's located in where in Virginia?
It's called Orange, Virginia. It's a little tiny town.
Nice. The best kind.
And I just got here, so I've only been here for 11 months, I think. So I hauled my cows from Indiana to here, which is not financially smart, but I was like,
you did it. It is what it is.
Can't afford to rebuy them right now. I mean, that's where I'm at. Like my cows, my 2 Santa Gertrudis cows, I got them on like a trade deal with he was my friend. He was an older gentleman. He had cancer, and he was trying to downsize all his farm stuff. My 2 milk cows I did buy. That was probably the most expensive 2 cows that I have in the herd. I had a couple other bottle calves that I raised on goat's milk that I raised up. I don't have them anymore. The one I processed because she wouldn't breed, and the other one I just processed her steer calf. But I lost her to bloat because she got into a bunch of feed. And then the bull, I've got him on me and the guy's been working out deals. He borrowed my boar. I'm borrowing his bull. That's the only reason I got that Murray Gray bull on a fairly inexpensive lease. Like, he's a monster, though. I mean, he is a tank. I'm trying to go the other way. I want to downsize my cows. I've actually started looking into Murray Gray line. It's called the square meters. I don't know if you heard of those.
Yes.
Yeah. I just started. I came across them a few months ago, but I've been talking to people on different pages. The problem is I've only got this year. I've got 6 head to breed. Next year I'll have 8 if I keep the 2 heifer calves from this year. So I'm at that point where is it worth me buying a bull, or do I lease this Murray Gray again next year if he throws good calves? And then as I grow, because I'm going to hit a cap here pretty soon. My grass is doing the rotational grazing, have improved every year, but like next year, I think I'm going to buy 4 feeder cattle in to add to my herd just for the grazing season. This year, it kind of got away from me, and I didn't get a chance to take out all the sorry about that. To take out all the goldenrod. Yeah. But I've had so much going on this year with building the butcher shop, trying to keep up with all the farm stuff and all the different stuff I've got going on. Kids, life in general. So I'll get back after it soon.
Heck yeah. I miss having beef. I do. I started on beef. I literally went from chickens and rabbits to 2 cow-calf pairs with 0 fencing. Nice. So I jumped in head first.
Right.
And it's I miss having them, but I can't financially justify having them, especially where it's I know I can. I've got a laundry list of customers that I can go, do you have a cow I could buy or a half a cow? And they'd be like, right. Yeah, of course.
Right.
So I wish that Lisa would have commented this when we had Mike in here, because I can't remember how to pronounce this. It's a genetic, not so much that the genetic pools are limited. It is chondro
positive.
Yeah. So what you got to just be careful on if you're breeding 2 positive animals together. You can breed a non-positive and a positive, and you're taking a 50-50 chance that calf's going to be a carrier. Now, if you breed 2 and if you don't have the genetic testing, and it's a lot more in Dexters than low lines, because low lines were just bred down in size. That's how they're supposed to be. Now, if you have low line genetics that have Dexter genetics crossed in, then it's more likely. The low lines were bred down from just regular standard Angus. Dexters are an actual true smaller breed, and that chondro gene, you breed 2 of them together, you get that bulldog calves. And to answer Canadians, a bulldog calf is a calf it's face is shoved in. Usually they're born dead, or they don't make it to full term anyway. They're disformed, and sometimes they'll come out viable, but they don't live long at all. So if you're breeding Dexters, it's a very good idea, even if you don't have registered stock, to get genetic testing on those animals. And probably with low lines too. I haven't done a ton of research in the low lines, but it's as simple as pulling tail hairs and sending them over to at UC Davis or Texas A&M, and I think there was one more that will do it. But if you're worried about that in those smaller cattle, it's definitely worth spending the few dollars to get the genetic testing done. Now, Dexters carry another, I forgot what it's called, that can cause birth defects too. It starts with a P. I can't remember that one though. It's been so long since I've read up on the Dexters. This would have been good stuff for Mike, because he's breeding the Dexters. But
do you follow Sweetbriar Farm on TikTok? Yeah, that's Mike. He was on last week, so we were talking about Dexters.
Oh, okay. He's a character. His corn videos have been very interesting.
He is absolutely a character.
Yes, Canadian. If you cross the Dexter or the Jersey, it'd be less likely, because Jerseys don't typically carry the chondro genetics. So even if your bull is a short, he has that genetic, that calf would come out normal. It may be a carrier, but you don't want to cross the bull back to that calf.
That's a thought. What low line Jersey. How do you think that would? That would grow out?
They're adorable.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah, so you're going to have the same.
I mean, you're going to have the same issue you're going to have when you crossbreed dairy into beef, regardless.
Yeah. So you're either, you're going to get a good quality of beef because the Jersey does have decent quality. I mean, Kyle, you've processed so many. And then the Jersey Angus crosses have a good quality, but you're going to have a slower growing animal, a lighter framed animal, most likely. But yeah, the crossing anything on those, Lisa says one breed of cattle, and that's a brown Swiss.
Yeah.
I heard brown Swiss. So I had a brown Swiss Charolais cross, and she was great. But wow. I've been in the dairy farming side I started working on dairy farms when I was 12. Not many farmers around here keep brown Swiss because they're like sheep tendencies. They'll find any way to kill themselves or just like lay there and die, from what I heard. I like them.
Massive. Like
they are. Yeah, they are. I like them. I like the brown Swiss. They're super docile. Yeah.
I like them, but god dang, they are not super, like they're somewhat intimidating when you're walking up to do something to them. But it's just like, god dang it, this has to go right. God, like. And so there's actually there's a beef genetic of the brown Swiss. I can't remember what those are called. It starts Bravin, maybe. That's actually like, yeah. So back when they developed the brown Swiss, they had like a beef side and the milking side. So
is that? I mean, I know they have that in Dexter's too. They have the milking Dexters and then short horns. Is that just like a thing that they used to do? Because I know there's a few breeds that are definitely like that, dual purpose.
Yeah. So what happened with the dual purpose breeds is and this just goes across board for any dual purpose breed. Pigs. Well, not really. Pigs is more of like lard versus
going and milk your pigs, Joe.
You give me enough money, I'll do it.
You'd have to do it over like metal roofing, so it would all just corrugate down into whatever you had laying underneath it. Because there's no way you're getting a bucket under there.
But you get 1,000 views where you milk a pig.
Yeah, that's what I should do.
1,000 views because you were trying to milk a pig and it bit your shoulder off. Although
that's one way to get it.
That's how I test my sows when they're getting ready to farrow. Is I go up and I try to extract milk from them, and they're just like, "Huh? I don't care." Also,
leave me alone.
Yeah, leave me alone.
But
I hate myself.
Yeah, as people have become more industrialized, they're looking for.
I don't want your pig cheddar. Milk anything.
They started breeding pigs specifically for meat, but no, that's how these lines got developed, because certain farmers were going the dairy route and they needed to produce more and more milk, so they started breeding those animals with higher milk capacities. And then same thing with because you think way back when the settlers were here. They wanted dual purpose animals because their farms were to feed their families. And as industry grew, it kind of divided and split into, okay, this guy raises beef, this farm raises dairy, these people raise meat chickens, these people raise, laying chickens. And that's how, everything's been kind of divided that way. And I've got a mixed group of everything. How long has
Holstein as a breed been around? Not like in the scale of time, probably not that long.
Well, if you go back into like the Frisian side of the genetics, they're definitely an older breed, but I've milked dairy cows that I'd probably get more milk off my goats from. It's just, you can get a Holstein that produces 30 pounds, and then you can have other Holsteins that are producing 130 pounds. It just depends on your genetic lines of your animals that you have.
Yeah.
It's interesting. That's for sure.
Lisa, back in the 90s, I was still shitting in my diapers.
Me too. Me too. Do you guys, so are there like, are there main channels that you guys watch on, like, do you guys do the YouTube watching of different farmers?
Oh, yeah.
Used to.
Like that? Are there?
Yeah,
I used to. When I started doing more and more content, I got away from watching it more so because time restraints, and everybody that follows me knows, like, I work at least 80 hours a week in the shop, like actually in my butcher shop, plus trying to do content, plus the family, and trying to keep up on the farm. So there's very limited amount of time at the end of the week to just sit down and watch a YouTube video. Now I have a few channels I like following, but I've kind of narrowed it down to my friends' channels. I would much rather watch their content and support them on what they're doing. Kyle's videos, Tyler's, Brian over at Lots Project. I try to catch his stuff.
Unless
Tim's.
We're hate watching, because then we'll hate watch everybody.
But like, I have certain, like, if I interact with you, Chase, he's actually down there in Virginia. We interviewed him. He breeds Murray Grays, registered Murray Grays. Broken Arrow Farms. Anybody that I've interacted with and did interviews with, I try to support their channels and watch their content first, and then I'll go on to the other channels that I usually watch.
Okay.
And it's like, I think there's definitely something that comes to doing content yourself that turns you off of watching that same, like, I used to watch so much more farming content. Like, that's all I watched.
Yep.
And then I started doing more farming content, and I'm like, I don't want to watch any of this, because the part of it is where it's like, one, I do this all day anyway, and now I film it. So now I'm literally doing this all day, every day.
Right.
And then also it's like, I know for me, and it's like, I am mostly joking about the hate watch thing, but it's like, there are people that I will watch that it's like, you're not doing that. And you're telling people wrong stuff. You're telling people stuff that they want to hear, but you're not.
I mean, we don't have to name drop, but is there a specific channel?
No, Kyle's got a couple specific channels.
No, it's a lot of the big ones where it's like, if you watch the videos, listen, the power of editing is amazing. You can get a lot of stuff across with editing. I know it because I do it.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I don't like, I'm not like in a bad way. Like, everyone sees my shit, but it's like, you can edit something to look amazing. And a lot of these bigger channels where it's like, oh yeah, there's just a dude in a leather apron and a beret doing all these chores with his 9 Aryan children, and he's doing a great job, and he's doing it all by himself. And it's like, no, he's got a bunch of interns that do all that work for him.
Yeah. And
then he throws on the apron and just runs around. He's like, I'm going to move this tractor over here. And it's great. Everything's fantastic. You can do this with no money. And it's like, yeah, that's how you got that brand new Kubota with no money. Right. That's fine. Like, so yeah, I mean, I would rather watch my friends. I'd rather watch these smaller channels, because at the end of the day, I'm going to be able to do what they're doing much sooner and easier, because we're on a somewhat level field. Like, we're all like just kind of here in the jostling of where we are financially and successfully and all of this stuff. So it's like, I like what he's doing, and it really wouldn't change much about my system if I did it that way, as opposed to watching someone bigger that's like, you need to compost every single paper item and everything that's in your house. Throw your kid in there. Toss him in the compost.
Right.
Like, that's how you're going to be successful with this. And it's like, okay. Like,
it's not all or nothing for anything.
Yeah. There's a 0.25% of people that will take that very seriously, and like half of them will be successful with it. Congratulations. Good for them. I would much rather one, put out content and support people that are putting out content, that it's like, hey, are you just getting into cows? Did your wife decide you guys are going to have goats? Like, are you sick of like supermarket pork and you want to raise a couple pigs for yourself? Hey, do this. Is it amazing? Is it absolutely incredible? Is it amazing? Is it exactly how you should do everything? No. But that, like, and I usually explain that in all mine. I'm like, I'm not an expert. I'm just a hillbilly with a phone that's taking the time to put all this on the internet. So
someone's got to do it.
I would much rather listen to that guy than the other guy. Like, I don't know. That's my opinion on it. And again, like when it comes to content I actually take in, I live off YouTube, but it's 90% of my content is comedy. Like I listen to podcasts and comedy all day because I'm doing this all day. Like I don't need to also listen to that. I do a little bit, but again, I'm a bad content friend. And it's like everyone knows I try to go in and watch all my friends' videos and like everything, but it's like I'm not going to sit down and watch a 30-minute video. I love you all, but I'm either editing my own stuff or like I just need to zone out from agriculture for a minute.
Go ahead.
Yeah, not just that. Like I'm the same way. Like I try to catch as much as possible, but Kyle's in the same boat. Like we've grown, we have so many friends on different platforms. It's tough to catch everybody's videos on a, semi-consistent basis.
Yeah, definitely.
And then the other fun part of it all, which Lisa pointed out, why do I listen here? Oh, the potential dumpster fires. That's the other reason I enjoy doing it, because I have had so much fun just doing this. And I'm sorry to cut you off, Joey. And it's like Joe kind of mentioned it. It's like we've all made so many friends doing this. And it's like it's fun to come on and BS. And it's like on TikTok, we do Misfit Farmers, where it's like all of a sudden there's just 9 of us from all over the country just talking farm shit. But then again, it's the same thing as this podcast. It is a farming and butchering podcast. But what happens is we get farmers and butchers on, and we're all the same people. So we all have the same sense of humor. Yeah. So it just turns into a bullshit session, and we have a great time, and it turns into a dumpster fire, which is, again, I'd rather watch that. Like,
that's how you got to keep it. You got to keep it fun. I definitely know what you guys are saying. Like, it's interesting because, like, I'm not in the same boat of either one of you guys, because, like, my start in social media was dogs. So, like, I have a large account on TikTok for dog training, and that's like at 250,000 followers. But that I could not listen to anyone else talk about dogs when I was making content. And now, I mean, I'm still doing the dog training, but I moved, and so everything has changed, and now I'm just like full tilt on cows and rotational grazing and all that stuff. So I'm like blazing through channels all day, just like, what can I try differently? What am I doing? And it's very interesting because I was in the same boat as you guys.
Well, and I think we all did that. Like, I think we all did that when especially before I did content. Like I said, I watched a ton of it. And when I was first getting into it, of just like, I don't know any of this. Like, I don't know how to do any of this. Farming, 1. Content, 2. Like, how do you do this? So it's like you just absorb everything you can from everyone. You take in all the information, good, bad, ugly, like, and you learn and grow from it. And again,
well, I'm like that with the farming side of it, just because I enjoy it all, and I'm always looking to learn new things. So I've been farming for 16, 17 years. I've had my own animals for 10 plus years now. And but I'm always looking to see what other people are doing and try that with what I'm doing if it interests me. If it doesn't work, that's what I try telling people on my content is I'm not telling you how to do certain things. I'm just hoping that maybe something I'm doing can help you with what you're doing on your farm. Like the way I farm is just a mixed match of multiple other people's, stuff that they're doing, stuff that I've learned in person from other farmers and stuff that I've learned on YouTube and TikTok now that I've seen it. I'm always trying new things because if you stop, like if you get to the point where you're content with what you're doing, you're going to hit like a flat in anything you're doing. It's not just farming, but you're just going to plateau and you're not growing anymore. You're not gaining. Which is great. If that works for people, that works. But I'm not content. Like I'm constantly trying to do better for the stuff that I'm doing. And sometimes I have to take a few steps back because I'll get ahead of myself. I'll be the first to admit. I'll be like trying sheep. Next thing I know, I got 20 sheep out in the pasture. I'm like, I don't know how this happened, but I need to downsize a little bit, take a step back and refigure out what I'm doing here. And I've done that multiple times.
Emus.
Hey, I've tried that just because my wife's scared of birds, but I haven't been successful.
My wife is terrified of birds, and I am determined to get an emu at some point.
So that's the same with me and today. She hates, like, when we first got together, when I got chickens, oh, man, she didn't even want to come out of the house. I was like, I'm going to get an ostrich or an emu. She's like, you better not. She's like, I will murder you and that bird.
Oh, I got a fun story. All right, this is where the dumpster fire starts. All right. So when I first moved in with my wife, like we were still dating, and I had already gotten into chickens and stuff a little bit at a couple other dwellings I lived in, and she wanted to as well. So I'm like, all right, cool. Like we'll get some stuff. So we got at one point we had 60 birds in like a 20 by 20 corner with a shed and hutches and everything. It was a disaster.
Damn.
But at one point we got ducks. Dumb. We had 2 pecans, and they were great. They were fine. They were delicious. Oh. But there's a picture, and I wish I had put it in here. I might try to figure out how to edit it in here. But there's an adorable picture of my wife like holding both of them like this, and it's like, oh, that's so cute. Right after that picture, one of them was like, nah, I'm fucking done. Let me out of this, and just scratched her wrist. If you've ever been scratched by a duck, it sucks. It's not going to kill you, but they have so much bacteria in their feet that it just swells up and it looks nasty. Like it is not good. And she's a nurse, so obviously she went in and washed it out. It was fine. But that afternoon, she had like just a regular doctor's appointment. So they go through the whole doctor's appointment and everything's good. Everything's fine. And then at the end of it, the doctor just kind of sits and like puts her clipboard in her lap and just goes, so is everything else okay? She's like, yeah, everything's fine. Why?
Yeah.
And she's like, I didn't really want to say anything, but I saw your wrists and I just wanted to make sure everything was all right. She had to go, oh, actually, it's my duck. She's like, I'm sorry, what? She goes, oh, my duck scratched me in the wrist.
The duck held me down and cut my wrist.
Yeah, exactly.
Jeez.
And it's like, and then the ironic part of it is that you have ducks long enough and you want to do that anyway.
Yes.
So,
yeah. I've heard that multiple different times.
Never again. We will never have ducks on this farm. Ever.
But that emu might be your ticket to stardom. That's gotten... Yeah. People getting emus have made them they've blown up after
that's what I'm trying to do with Red. I am trying to I'm putting Red out every single day, just waiting for him to get famous. And he already has like a fan club. He has at least 6 people that comment on every single one of his videos and repost it.
Is that the
Canadian said he loves his ducks?
Well, you're Canadian.
Yeah, he's got all fucked up animals.
So on my page, like that big black boar, that's Red.
Okay.
So I just post thirst traps every day of him, and
yes,
literally with the concept of I'm just going to post one every day because statistically, at some point, one is just going to skyrocket. Like if I post basically the same video every single day, like, well, there has to be a chance that just someday he just goes completely viral, because it's like, did someone take a thirst trap of their pig? Like, just for that alone. So we're getting there. Right. We're going to figure it out.
I think a lot of people screw up the social media thing just trying too many different things. Like if you have one video that does well, you need to be recreating that same video over. Like any of the big creators, they do the same thing every video. It's just different words. And it's like obnoxious, but it works.
Like we talked about it last week a little bit. But it's like we kind of broke it down where it's like in every category of TikTok, because TikTok has a million different categories in itself, and you trying to figure out what type of content you're going to make. And then even in that, there are just subcategories of people that post. You and Joe, you're more informational people. You are putting out content that it's like, hey, I'm doing this. This is why I'm doing it. Hope it helps. I am just a feral animal that just posts nonsense related to farming and butchering, and it works. Like,
right.
Again, not like, but again, that's so polar opposite to my YouTube. I'm maybe not polar opposite, but my YouTube is very by the book, like not by the book, but like very informational. I try to explain everything thoroughly to make sense to the normal person. This is why I'm doing it, this, that, and the other thing. And then on TikTok, I'm just like, hey, here's a little person doing something. That's weird. Like it's
right.
I don't know.
Well, hopefully we'll see how in-depth your videos are when I try to butcher that lamb. Because that's what I'm going off of. I have zero experience and no one wants to buy them, so I'm eating them.
Have you ever done a deer?
Yeah.
Then you're fine.
Super similar.
You're fine.
Okay, because these are, I don't know. I mean, I've never had wool sheep. I eat lamb in restaurants, but I've never had like a hair sheep versus a wool sheep. Mm-hmm. So I have hair sheep and they are fat as pigs on grass. So I'm hoping it's a real mild taste.
Everybody says that about the hair sheep. I haven't had the chance to process one and try it yet. But I would, if we continue doing the sheep, I am going to transition over to hair sheep just because I have no desire. The wool sheep were literally just given to us. That's how we obtained them. And I have no desire to pay someone to come out and shear sheep for me. It's kind of a throwaway.
Just get Aaron. He'll come over and do it. It's fine. Just ship Aaron out from Minnesota and he'll come and shear your sheep.
Yeah, that'll be good content.
The sheep.
I don't know. I wasn't too keen on getting into the sheep, but I figured why not? They were inexpensive.
I'll tell you, the cows, I have fantastic results. Like in the winter feeding hay, there can be some injuries with mixing them, but what the cows don't want to eat, the sheep will.
The sheep will.
We've cleared black. Yeah, it's amazing because the cows watch the sheep eat it, and they're like, "Let me taste that." And my cows are eating briar bushes and blackberries and God knows what, and it's just like I don't know if they're watching the sheep, if I'm just leaving them there a little long, or because obviously I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just trialing things, but it's been good.
Welcome to the club.
Yeah, it's all trial and error. Honestly, I've been messing around on this new property I'm on my third grazing season and slowly building the pastures back up. But like this year, it took the back burner to getting the shots squared away. So I've had a couple times where I've heavily overgrazed pastures, and I bet I've got enough room now between mine and my neighbors that I can, I kind of skipped over that in the next rotation to let it have that extra time to rest. And it's okay, but it's not perfect. Like, I'm still brush hogging because I don't have enough animals or enough time to do like a daily move, so I can contain them down smaller to do like the trampling for me.
Yeah.
So I'm still brush hogging. I want to get away from that. That's why I'm thinking about adding a couple more feeders on next year. And my stepbrother is moving. Well, he just moved back this week. He's going to be helping me on the farm, so I'm going to have him set up to do the everyday rotations for me. We're going to start slowly growing the farm now that I have someone here all the time to help me on the farm, because I don't have the time to do it. So I set my paddocks up right now for weekly moves. It's not ideal, but at least they're still rotating.
It works, right? And I think what's important.
It's better than that.
I think what's important about like all this farming aspect, like the farming aspect in general, it's like, I know me and Joe are pretty similar with this, where it's just like, you kind of got to learn. You kind of got to go through it. You got to deal with it. Is it nice when someone goes, don't do that? I promise you don't do that because it's going to end bad. But there are other things where it's like, you can learn the lesson and it's like, When you learn the lesson on the farm about something, you're not going to do it again because that means something died. Like, that means something happened.
Well, maybe not. I could think of one creator on TikTok that posts some stuff. He's hilarious, and I love his content. Okay, but there's some stuff where you're like, you've dragged out 2 dead cows, and you're still not changing stuff. That doesn't really make sense to me. But he, again, if he knows who he is, he's amazing, and I love his channel. I watch all of his stuff. But that's where management. I'm like, I understand you've been doing this for a while, but like, obviously, maybe something's
not working.
A little bit.
Right. But again, for like all of those first generation farmers that are starting to get into this and do this, like, just know we all did it, and it sucked for us. It's going to suck for you, and there's a high probability that it's going to happen to you. Because
I got so busy with the shop this year, and I lost that heifer during calving because I wasn't checking them twice a day.
I've lost cows, I've lost piglets. Like, we farrowed this year, and it was 97 degrees, and we ended up losing 6. Like, stillborns are just what, and it's like, again, that sucks. And that's one of those things you learn, that it's like, you really didn't have much control over it besides the fact of putting the boar in a month earlier. Like, which we will be doing next year, just in case. I'd rather have them born in snow than have them born in 97-degree heat. I can plan for snow. I can't plan for 97
weather
degrees
better?
Heat.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Yeah, I mean, most pigs are like, you want them. Again, nothing wants to be born in 97-degree temperatures. Like, you're going to have a bad time regardless of the species. Like,
right.
It's hard in our area for farrowing because you really don't want, like, because the Mangalitsa Ossabaw adds a little bit more hardiness for that cold weather farrowing. But ideally you want it to be dry, and you want it to be warm, but not too warm, because the flies start coming out. It's easier to put a heat source, not necessarily a heat lamp. I've used heat lamps the last couple of years because it's what I had, but some kind of heat source in that corner of that pen, than it is to control those flies that are covering your piglets as soon as they're born. And so I like farrowing when it's cooler out also, and I'm trying to get to the point where I can hopefully donate a couple show pigs to the 4-H kids. So I'm aiming for like January piglets this year. It looks like I'm getting December piglets because my boar tore the side of my barn out because he's massive. He's got to be 650, 700 pounds. He's a tank. He's a big baby. I love my boar, but I knew it was going to happen. It was my fault, but I didn't have any other place to put him. And I was just like, fingers crossed, he stays in for a month. Just give me a month. 2 weeks.
Yeah.
One of those cells came into heat. Yeah, he ripped 2x6s off, went right through the 1xs, and that's where he's at now. So
Red scared the shit out of me yesterday. I was filming his nightly thirst trap, and I figured out the way to film is to throw out a couple rolls or some food at the bottom of the paddock. And it's like, because he's in the big, 3-acre paddock right now, just living his best life until the piglets get in there. But, and then I run up the hill and get a good camera frame so I can like edit it out and stuff like that. But, I had some like mini ciabattas that I got from the grocery store, like that they give us. So I tossed them out and I just put the bag in my back pocket, filmed the video. It was fine. But he comes up hot because he's had snacks and he's like, I think Dad has more snacks. That's why like I can get good video of him because he's running, he's jumping around. He smelled the bag in my pocket and was like, he's hiding them from me. Like, what is he doing? Why is he not I had to like, I was slowly kind of like, I was walking at first because I'm used to just walking. He just follows behind me, just kind of calm. He was trucking. He was jogging up right behind me, like trying to sniff me. I'm like, dude, do not. And to the point, like I literally ran down the hill, hopped the electric fence and like kind of got behind it. He wouldn't hurt me on purpose. He's a good pig, but he's also 550 pounds with 3-inch cutters.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's trying to get that bag out of your pocket. Your pants are coming off.
Oh, yeah. And part of my butt cheek. And then it's like, and then of course I like get behind the gate and he just walks over the electric fence to the gate. And I'm like, dude. And I literally looked at him and went, what the fuck, dude? And he just like looked at me and went, I was like, you suck. Come on, man. It's like, I love you. I don't want to be scared of you. But all of a sudden, you're trucking along, and it's like, oh, boy, we're going downhill. I do not have momentum on my side, and he's got big teeth.
I told Logan, my stepbrother, it's moving back to help. He helped me move cows last week. We were talking about this. I told him, I said, before we move cows, because the way my paddocks are set up, my neighbor doesn't allow me to put hard fence on his property because they hunt and ride four-wheelers and stuff. So all 15 acres I graze down there is polywire, one strand of polywire. Well, when I moved my cows from my place down to the bottom pasture for the rotation, there's no fence in between. It's a good distance. I got to walk my cows across wide open pasture. They could go anywhere they want, but they're trained that they will follow me. Well, he's never been with me when I've done that before. Next thing he knows, I take off running to keep their attention. They're following me thinking they know they're going to a good pasture. Well, they've never seen him before. They're not used to him. So they're trying to figure out what he's doing. He turns around, his eyes got like this big. He's got the whole herd of cows. I mean, it's all downhill too. There's no stopping if he hit the brakes.
Yeah.
I just told him, I said, keep running straight for the pasture and go in the gate. They'll just follow you right in. And they did. But I was like, from now on, when we do this, because I want to catch that on video, like how many people can cross a whole herd of cows across open land and have them just A to B, not running around. You're not chasing them around. They just right down where they're supposed to be.
Right.
But the time that I go to film it is going to be the day that I have to chase them all over the neighbor's property.
Yeah, Canadian Farmstead asked, why didn't you get that on camera? Because I was worried about getting my ass bit off by my boar. That's why I didn't get it on camera.
Safety first.
Safety first.
Sometimes you got to risk safety for those good shots.
Yeah.
Listen, I have risked. I have risked, and I have gone to new levels for my content. I don't need to bleed that bad. I don't. I don't. All right, Joey. We're up on an hour here. Where can everyone find you? And go ahead and plug your other stuff too, if you'd like, your dog stuff. More than welcome.
Yeah. So basically, farming TikTok is wannabe farmer, the wannabe farmer. Just trying to get it going. See if I can get something on there. And then Hoosier Canine, HOOSIERCANINE, is everywhere else. If you're interested in training your dog, you can go check those out. But yeah, I think that's about it. I'm new to the farming, so I want to get a following. I'd like
Absolutely.
to.
And we'll have you on later too. We'll get updates.
Yeah.
I'd love to be on again.
Absolutely.
This is fun because I don't get to shoot the shit with many farmers because I new to the area and just now getting on social media with it. So
that's what this is about.
Man. Yeah, definitely.
100%. Joseph.
Every Sunday night here with Kyle on Meet the Critters, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube, Blakesley Acres. And you can also, if you really want to, you can go follow our Butcher Shop page on Facebook. That's Bare Bones Butchering. Yeah. And then over Telegram, Critter Crew. And I feel like I'm forgetting something else. I want to say that's it. Just drew a blank.
Fantastic. I'm going to take a couple more seconds on this one because I essentially have sponsors now that I have not been plugging and I need to. So first off, what I will say, if you are planning on thinking about going to SRF, one, please do. Me and Joe will both be there. For those who don't know, it's the Self-Reliance Festival in Camden, Tennessee. I'll be doing some butchering demos. Joe will be more than likely helping, and then we're going to be walking around doing stuff. I might be doing some talks. I have no idea. We're flying by the seat of our pants on this, but it is what it is. So the link to that is in the description of the video. You can click on that link. It'll bring you straight to the website. And I forget if it gives you I do not think it gives you a discount. I think it's still early tickets right now. So I think they are cheaper in general. Like I think the price is going to go up once we get closer to the festival. But yeah, go buy them from there. I would appreciate it. And then also, if you're thinking about getting a chamber sealer, go over to vacmasterfresh.com. Chamber sealers, bags, tools, stuff like that. And if you use promo code Backwoods, you save 15% off the entire site. So help me out. Go do that. I would appreciate it. And then everything else, as always, you can find me everywhere at Backwoods Butcher 603. That is TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, even though it's a wasteland. So we love you all. I appreciate all you being here. Joey, don't click the leave studio button. We always forget to tell everyone, and then they disappear because I will end the stream and we'll chat a little bit after. Okay. So, all right, kids, we love you. Thanks for watching.
See you later.